Okay, one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. We're going to spend some time unpacking this phrase. To me, this is very, very powerful rhetoric that kind of conveys some of the central ideas about Bitcoin, but also about inflation and about kind of what happens in the world of currency and monetary authorities that undergo repressive monetary policy, inflationary monetary policy. So the whole idea is that, Bitcoin, it has a value in your local currency. So I'm a US dollar denominated person in the United States. And so for me, the price of Bitcoin is $47,000 or $48,000 US, right? For someone in euros, it would be whatever price in euros. It's very natural to think in terms of your local currency, and all the things around you are priced in your currency. Simple, right? Now, the problem is to think in the longer run when there's no limit to the amount of your currency that can be created. The monetary authority can be as inflationary as it wants, as loose as it wants. There is no literal cap on the supply of US dollars or of euros or whatever country you're in. And so in the future, the prices of things probably are going to be higher because of inflation, right? Now, Bitcoin, this is not a statement about what Bitcoin is going to be worth, but we know the quantity of Bitcoin is fixed, and it will cap at 21 million Bitcoin. And so if there's demand for Bitcoin in the future, it actually is sort of interesting to think in terms of the prices of things in terms of a hard asset, of an undilutable or undebasable asset. And this is sort of where this thought experiment really takes you to start to think about inflation as a long-term risk that you have to really think about. And it's why if anyone who lives in, say, a country with a weak currency or a monetarily repressive country, that person is never going to be able to build or accumulate any wealth if it's stored in local currency. You think about people that maybe were very, very wealthy in Venezuelan bolivar terms. Well, not anymore, right? If you're wealthy in Argentina, a country that has a currency crisis about every 10 years, there's no way you store the bulk of your money in Argentinian currency, Argentine pesos, right? You're going to be storing your money in dollars, in a safer currency, or in productive assets that will protect you from a debasement of your local currency. So this is where Bitcoin, it gets you to think outside of your normal domain. It gets you away from kind of default thinking in your local currency. And even, let's say you live in the US and you're the beneficiary of a very strong currency relative to many others, but even with the United States' relatively low inflation rate over the past several decades, you can still see, just with a few percentage points a year, meaningful degradation of your purchasing power just from a few different, a low inflation rate over decades. You're going to have significant erosion in the purchasing power of basic currency. So again, the source of wealth creation is never holding the currency. It's holding assets that are productive or assets that are not debasable, right? So, and then there's lots of choices out there, right? If you're an Ethereum maximalist, okay, 1 ETH equals 1 ETH, right? This is another way to think about it. But the whole point is to think very long term about risks to the prices of things and the value of your currency, the currency you think in, because of monetary policy going forward, creation of new money, new dollars or new euros or whatever the currency might be, and to kind of think about that risk as something you want to avoid. So 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin is just a way to kind of redenominate the prices of the things around you. So just some examples, you want to buy like a Ford pickup truck, a brand new Ford pickup truck fully loaded, that's 1 Bitcoin, right? If you want to buy a nice house in the Midwest, in a nice suburb, some medium-sized Midwestern town, 10 Bitcoin. Let's say you want to be financially independent or have a significant nest egg where you don't really have to worry about working ever again. Maybe that's 100 Bitcoin, right? These are kind of ways to denominate, and obviously mentally you're transferring these into dollars, or you're taking the dollar price and transferring it into Bitcoin, but it's using Bitcoin as a unit of account and thinking about the prices of things rendered in Bitcoin rather than a debasable currency like the US dollar. So it just gets you to think. and it gets you to kind of escape a default setting of thinking in your country's local currency. And as a result, it should help you protect yourself from the long run risks of inflation. All right? I hope these are helpful. Thanks for watching.